Hey, what's up, guys? Back again finally with another episode. Not much has been happening lately with my truck. It's been parked in this spot for about a month, and that is because I had some sudden brake failure. Basically, at the end of that, I guess because of that burnout a while back, put a lot of heat and stress into those brake rotors, and basically need new ones now. So I ordered some new ones, and they're finally in, all but the front rotors, but I'm gonna get started anyways. So as far as parts go, I've got some EBC Yellow Stuff pads and some stainless braided brake lines, as well as some EBC rotors. So still a bit of teardown to do before we get to that stage, so we'll start by jacking it up and getting everything torn off, and then we'll take a look at the new parts. Like, come look at this side. It's absolutely destroyed. It's crazy that it got this bad. So this is the front side of the rotor. I don't know if you can see, but those are cracks there. That's not even the worst part, because the whole inside of the rotor's missing, and brake pads, there's a tiny bit left on that one, and that one is straight up down to bare metal. So it's pretty ridiculous, and it looks like a seal on the caliper is gone as well. So I knew it was going to be kind of bad, but that's really should not have gotten that bad. So I guess the pro tip here is, if you're going to do 45-second long 5th gear 100-mile-an-hour burnout, make sure you clamp your rear brake lines so you're not working the brakes for that whole thing, because then this will happen. So I've got the new parts next to the old ones, and man, it's crazy. These old ones absolutely destroyed, cracked along almost all of these little slots, and then this one, the whole inside broke off. This pad is absolutely nothing left. It's just down to the bare plate there. And I've got these the new ones here. They're from EBC Brakes, and so I've got their rotors, sport rotors, and their Yellow Stuff brake pads. So these guys, I guess, are like their performance street / race compound, and I've heard a lot of good things about them as far as being able to slow these trucks down, and apparently these good brake pads will have more of an effect than switching to some of the upgraded caliper kits and whatnot. Obviously it's probably not the same performance as those 16-inch Wellwood rotors. Those things are crazy, but for a reasonable price option, I'm hoping they're going to do well. I've picked up all this stuff from a company called T-Dot Performance. They're based out of Ontario in Canada, and they had some of the best prices that I found, easy to use website, and free shipping across Canada, which was awesome. So recommend them. They had pretty quick shipping. Well, it was a little weird. They sent some of the items separately, and Purelator didn't drop them at the door, so I had to make a couple trips to pick them up from the post office or the Purelator, but not a huge deal. I also picked up stainless braided lines from from Russell. So hopefully that helps firm things up a bit too. So I'll be putting all the part numbers in the description as usual, because in particular these guys, I had a little bit of a tough time finding their part numbers, but there they are. So hopefully that helps you guys out if you're looking to do the same upgrades. So here are some of the factory rubber lines. This is the center one off the rear, and then this is the new one. Just got stainless braided and then the distribution block there. And so basically these lines are an upgrade because these rubber hoses, especially as they get older, they can expand when you're pressing your brakes, and so your brake force goes, your pedal force goes to expanding these lines, and you're losing out on what actually gets to the brake caliper. So these ones should be able to hold their shape a little better. One issue I did have with taking these lines out is some of the ends are seized on the factory hard lines, and so you can see here this bit's snapped off, and this is on the factory hard line that goes back up to towards the master cylinder. So it's not one of the lines that was supposed to be replaced, and but it looks like I'm gonna have to anyways. So there's a couple that were tight, and when they gave, it wasn't the nut, it was just twisting that whole tube. So I have to order some replacement parts, take care of that. Another thing to note, these rotors are directional, so they've got little arrows in the direction of rotation. So make sure you take a look at that when you're putting them on. Okay, and yet again, another setback. Looks like these are the wrong rotors. So you can see this one is a little bit taller, so it's this hat height is deeper than on these ones, and so I don't know who messed up, if that was me ordering it or them sending out the wrong one, but I will, I guess, contact them on Tuesday, and hopefully we can get a proper set on their way. It's a little frustrating as always when things don't go right, but you know, it is what it is, and gotta keep going. Hey, what's up guys? So I had my last final yesterday, and so I've finally got time to work on my truck. I've got all the parts I need, hopefully, and now a bit of free time, so I'm gonna do my best to get this thing back on the road as soon as possible. And wouldn't you know it, it snowed, so we're gonna get at her. My roommates think they're funny and filled my trucks with balloons. But I'm gonna start by putting the battery on a charger because it's been sitting for who knows how many months, and it's for sure dead. Whoa. And miss this thing so much. So let's take a look at least part of what made this take so long. Basically, I got new rotors and pads and some stainless steel braided brake lines. But when I was throwing those brake lines on, as you'll see in that clip that I either put before or I'll put now, basically my old factory hard lines were corroded and snapped the line. So I had to track down a set of brake lines, and so I've got here from Napa actually is just a full set of stainless brake lines for my truck, and that's going to be kind of a pain to install because the one that it snapped on at least was the one that goes all the way from the back of the truck up to the ABS module kind of underneath the driver's door area. So that was one delay. The other delay was when I ordered the rotors. I don't know if there's my mix-up or the company's mix-up, but basically on these trucks there's two different hub offsets for the brake rotors, and the ones I got were wrong. So sent those back, got a new set sent out. So I've got these EBC rotors and their Yellow Stuff brake pads. So we'll take a look at those and open them up when it comes time to that. But I figured I would probably be wise to start with the worst part of the job, which is those brake lines. Not 100% sure if I want to try and replace every single one, or if I'll just do the ones that are broken and easily accessible. Obviously it would be good to do them all, but we'll see how it goes. So this is the line that broke. This is the rear one. It was bent for shipping, so we just have to unbend that. But basically, it was this fitting here kind of corroded inside there, and then when I went to back that off, just ended up twisting the whole line because it's so small. So I figured I'll start with the rear ones. This is the one that gets all the way to the back, and then these are for on the rear axle. So we'll take a look at those. These seem like pretty nice quality lines, all stainless stuff. So hopefully they last. Today I got the truck all jacked up again, and we tore off the old brake lines in the rear and then started putting the new hard lines in. So we see down here we got the one thing that looks clean and shiny is the new stainless hard line, and I've also got the stainless braided cable for the flex line. And so now we'll go ahead and start throwing on the new rotors, calipers, and pads. So got all these from EBC Brakes, and I ordered them through a company called T.Performance. They're pretty helpful, and they're a Canadian company, and I think they have warehouses in the States too, and they do free shipping everywhere basically. So yeah, I had some issues with getting the right parts, but whether or not that was my fault or their fault, they resolved it with sending me a new set of rotors and paying for the shipping back even. So thank you to them for that, and now hopefully these ones go on and don't have any more issues. Let's take a look. Yeah, so nice beefy rotor size, and then they've got this black coating on here and the slots. So in a rotor, the slots you'll see slotted and drilled and whatnot. Basically the slots help for cooling, but also giving channels for gases to escape. So when you're braking really hard, it can form gases inside, and having these little channels for little gas pockets to hide into helps. They've also got a set of EBC Brakes Yellow Stuff brake pads. So the Yellow Stuff is basically ultra high friction, so it's going to be their highest brake pad, and there's kind of like a racing compound that they'd use on cars and stuff. One drawback is that they do make a lot more brake dust, I guess, so you just have to be more on top of cleaning things off. But I feel for my truck's application, having that higher performance is is well justified. So let's get started, throw these on, and hopefully these rotors fit. So I also picked up some stock reman calipers. Just the old ones are getting a little gross, and well, the passenger side one definitely needed replacing, and these are like $100 for the remans, and they're all nice and clean. Looks like these rotors are gonna fit, so I'm just going to double check the rotation of the slots because they are directional. One, the slots will go off this way, and the others, they're going off that way, and I'm pretty sure this is the correct side for That's what you want to see. The rotor is fitting right in between that bracket now, which was not the case with the other rotors. So glad to see these ones fit, and I guess we'll throw the pads in now. So these are the yellow stuff pads. So they come with this like a break-in coating for the first little bit to make sure the pads are seated to the rotors, and they're yellow otherwise. Come with some grease for the little sliders to make sure these don't bind up. And they've got some instructions here for, well, the install, but then also there's a bit of a break-in procedure for bedding them. And basically you want to take it easy for the first while until this break-in coating is gone. That's for the first 50 miles or so, they said. And then after that, you want to do a series of stops from 60 down to 20. And repeat that 5 times, and that's just to finally and fully seat these pads with your with the new rotors. So I'm excited to see what this stopping power turns out to be. And of course they throw in some little stickers. Always like the stickers. But yeah, let's get going, throw these guys on, and go from there. So now all that we have to do is install the banjo bolt with the crush washers through this braided brake line and into the caliper. So these banjo bolts, they've got a hole down the center, and then it comes out through another hole in the side, and so that's how your brake fluid pressure gets into the caliper. So you slide that through there, another one on the other side, and thread it right in there. So there we go, that's one side done. Rotors, calipers, pads, and our Russell's braided brake line to our new stainless hardline. So that's gonna really tidy things up, and I'm excited to see if this actually has a good improvement in stopping power, I'll be sure to let you know. So I'm going to hop over and do the next side. You don't need to see that twice, and then we'll either move on to the front or try and tackle that like 10-foot hard line that goes from the ABS module back to here. Man, let me tell you, trying to get that thing out was a pain, and I don't even want to put it back in. So we'll struggle with that when it comes to it. So things are going well on the front end. Managed to get this side pretty much buttoned up, and close on the other side. Still just need to throw the caliper on, the pads are on. But another thing I decided is it's not going to be worth trying to replace all these brake lines on the front. I was able to loosen off the old line and thread it in, and looks clean inside, so that's what really matters. But yeah, it would be nice to replace it, but you see all these lines are all tangled up under here, and it's just gonna be a mess, I know. And right now I really just want to get my truck back on the road. The only thing left is that long stainless line. Started fishing that through. I put it in at the front side, and then now I'm working its way towards the back with it. It's pretty tight, especially when it gets into the bed spot about. So I've got the bed kind of propped up on some 2x4s, nice and sketchy, and you can kind of barely see where it's going, and it just gets caught up on a bunch of wires and stuff. So it's too hard to see in there right now, so I'm going to call it for tonight and get back at her tomorrow. So, managed to get that long line in. All the brake lines are hooked up and tightened up, and basically the only thing left is to torque all the bolts on the brake calipers and then fill it up and start bleeding. Got it hooked up, tees off here to both the rear brakes, and plumbed into our rear calipers, and same deal on the front. So to torque everything, I usually reference Longhorn Fab Shop. They've got on their website a nice PDF with all the different torque specs that our trucks need, split up into the engine and chassis and whatnot. Okay, so everything's all torqued up and filled up some fluid, and now it's time to start bleeding. Okay, so little setback here. Snapped off the nipple for bleeding the brakes here. So this guy right here, I knew it was tight. I was hitting it with the penetrant oil, giving it some taps and letting it sit. I let it sit all of Christmas Day, but I came out today to check it out, and still being super gentle with it, but it just snapped right off. So I'm gonna go pick up a new caliper, I think. Hope everyone had a good Christmas, spent time with their families. I know I did, but now it's time to get back at this and get it on the road. While I'm waiting to go pick up that brake caliper, figure may as well see if the thing still starts. Hey, so I got a new caliper, and let's go ahead and throw this thing on. Brakes feel pretty good. I've got the front wheels back on, and now just about to throw the rear ones on. But first, have to get the spacers on there. So I'm running a 2-inch spacer in the rear, and that's just to make up for the difference in track width from the factory, and just make it look a little better. But I think 2 inches is a little much. It's 1.5 will get you exactly level, but I'm okay with the back sticking out a little more. Okay, so we've got truck back together pretty much. Just got to torque the front wheels once it's on the ground, but we'll go ahead and drop it down now, and then let's go for a test drive. Okay, well, let's go for a test drive. There we go. Oh yeah, those stop good. Well, everything seems to be working all right, and I gotta say it feels good to be driving this thing again after so many months. I've got a nice high, hard pedal, and just tapping on it, it's like just stops right away. So it already feels way better than it did before. And basically for the first, I think 50 miles or so with these EBC pads, you just have to take it easy, nice light braking. They've got a kind of a wear-in coating that kind of helps the pads seat in, and just cleans off the faces of the rotors. So I'm just taking it nice and easy on the brakes, and then once that mileage gets there, then they've got a procedure. They want you to go, I think, like 60 to 20 miles an hour, hard braking 5 times in a row or something like that to really seat the pads. And then I think after I've done that, I'm going to try and get some emergency stops in and get the ABS to activate, and then bleed the brakes again, because with replacing all those lines down at the ABS module, it's very likely that some air got in there, and it can be difficult to get that air out unless you activate the module. So you can do that if you've got like a pro scanner or something and cause it to turn on itself. But what I've read a lot of guys do is just get some loose dirt or something and get it to skid and activate the ABS. But overall, I just hope everything's going well, stays well. Seems like it, but still be great to have this thing on the road, and then bring you some more content and do some more fun things. So, truck seems to be working well, no issues so far. That'll be it for this one. Stay tuned, because now that we've got a truck on the road, we can actually go and do stuff and get more parts and more fun things. So stay tuned, and that's a wrap.